What's up, YouTube? Bobbles and Ball Cards back. I hope everybody is having a great Saturday. Hope everybody is doing healthy, staying safe. Um, anyway, I wanted to get on this evening and just do a quick little video here. One thing I wanted to talk about up on the top where I normally do my shout outs, I posted up a code. Peter from SGC did an interview yesterday with Cardboard Chronicles, Josh from that channel. Peter sat down, did a very good interview with him. Gave a lot of background about the company. Talked about some of their plans moving forward. Talked about how they're going to handle increase in volume and that sort of thing. If you haven't ever checked out Cardboard Chronicles, I would highly suggest going over there and checking that interview out. Peter's a great guy. He's the one that I deal with directly with SGC. And at the end of the video, he actually gave that code. The code is Josh CC. It is for 15% off your grading fees. So, being that my code currently is not working properly, I thought I would share this one with anyone that wanted to get a submission out to SGC this weekend. He did say that the code expires Sunday at midnight. I don't know if that means midnight tonight or 11:15. It's good through 11:59 p.m. Sunday. I would assume since he said it was through the weekend, it would be 11:59 tomorrow night, so that would give people time to get on and do a submission and everything. So anyway, another thing I wanted to do, a lot of people, and I tried doing some research into this. I don't know what's going on, but I've had a few people, like probably about four people, message me or leave comment on the video and say, hey, I really enjoy your videos, but your volume is really low. And then I've had people that I've asked that I know for a fact watches the videos, and they're telling me that the audio is fine. I know when I watch them, it seems to be the volume is fine. I don't know if it's something with YouTube, some, different, if people are watching on different platforms, whether it be a TV, a phone, or the computer, or a tablet, or whatever. I don't know if it has anything to do with that, but for this video, I actually had to run back out to the store today and happened to run across a microphone that Walmart actually had in stock. They've been very hard to find with everybody having to telework. So I picked this up. Hopefully this will solve all the audio problems. Hopefully this has clear audio and no distortion or echoing or anything like that. So anyway, hopefully this will get things back a little bit more enjoyable for people, especially those that have said they really like to watch the channel. Um, Aside from that, I didn't want to just, obviously don't want to make this like a 5-minute video or whatever. So I'm going to touch on a topic just real quick. Well, I'm not going to go in depth on it, but I've been hearing, and obviously I see, when I browse YouTube and stuff, and it's becoming a heated debate, especially with SGC gaining popularity. And that is the debate between BGS, PSA, and SGC. And I've watched people's videos, um, and I'm going to be honest with you. And I'm going to be very transparent with you guys. Like I've tried to be throughout the entire time since I've started doing these videos regularly and giving, advice or information or whatever. For one, when I give you guys information, as you know, I always try to give data or hard proof. I'll flip over to my other screen, I'll pull prices up, I'll show my personal sales, I'll compare with other sales in the same time frame. I always try, if I'm telling you something, to give you evidence to go along with what I'm saying and not just my opinion. Um, I don't want to be, we all have our opinion. Um, but I want to be able to give information and help you guys, but also show data that backs what I'm saying so you can have confidence in believing what I'm telling you or what I'm trying to help with, or if somebody asks me a question, I can answer it and actually show hard evidence of why I'm saying what I'm saying. Sometimes it's just going to be my opinion, and my opinion is not always correct. Just like when I did the rookie card, the undervalued rookies, I showed statistics. I talked about statistics, but at the same time, I cannot tell you guys that any one of those players I mentioned will ever increase in value. I only was saying, based on statistics from their rookie year, players that I feel were undervalued. So even when I'm given an opinion or, talk on a topic like that, I still want to have some sort of data backing what I'm talking about. So you guys have more confidence in that I'm not just getting on here behind a camera and just, whatever whatever I want to talk about and make you guys believe it. So with that, I've heard a lot of people discussing the debate, like I said, between PSA, BGS, and SGC, and this is all came about because obviously SGC is gaining popularity, and you're gonna have people that don't like it. I mean, a lot of people don't like change. A lot of people want to believe PSA will always and forever be the only grading company that anybody should use. You're going to have people that assume only BGS is the grading company to use. And you'll have people that will say maybe even SGC is the only grading company that you should use. When I talk about SGC, I want it to be clear that my opinions and my advice and my, you can call it research, is based on evidence of my personal experience, whether it be customer service, whether it be pricing, whether it be consistent grading, whether it be resale value. I'm going to tell you what I have experienced personally. Also note, just because I use SGC doesn't mean that it might be the best fit for you. You may prefer BGS. You might have a contact with BGS or a group submission group that you can sub in that gets you better deals or better turnaround time or whatever with them. Same thing with PSA. Um, my experience with PSA right from the get-go was very negative. With the customer service, with the turnaround times, just the way that they go about their business, I didn't I didn't appreciate it. Um, you know, for one, um, they're backed up, as we all know. I mean, it's not a secret. They're backed up. Their turnaround times are longer. Um, but with the membership fee, now I know Chili's did a video. I think it was a couple days ago, and he did another one today regarding tied in with the same video, talking about the membership fee. The membership fee is not a requirement to grade with PSA. It is a requirement if you choose to do bulk submissions. I stated that I wasted $250 with the PSA membership. I signed up for their platinum membership, which is the top tier. I did so because A, my original intention was to use PSA as my grading company. But also B, when you sign up for the $250 membership, you get 15 grading vouchers. A standard submission is $20 a card, so if you take the $15 per or 15 vouchers and times that by $20, it comes up to $300. So essentially, I actually saved $50 overall because I did use my 15 vouchers, which would have cost me $300 and I only paid $250. The reason I state that I wasted the $250 is because had I had known, like, I wasn't aware, at the time of exactly how much longer it took PSA past their turnaround time. And had I known that, and had I known that the bulk submissions were getting so out of hand that it was taking them upwards of 6 months, I would have never spent the $250 even to get the 15 vouchers, because I would have never even considered them as my grading company of choice. So I wanted to clarify that a little bit. I didn't, I actually saved $50 because I submitted cards with the vouchers, but I wasted the $250 because I didn't need to pay for that membership if I had known ahead of time that I was never going to send in a single bulk submission with them. Now, BGS, I've never personally submitted to them. As you see on camera, I have cards from all three companies. I don't have a personal preference of what I buy as far as a card that is graded. To be quite honest, majority of the time, if I purchase a card that is graded, it's for two reasons. Reason number one is I can buy this card already graded in a gem mint form to add to my collection cheaper than if I wanted to buy it raw and submit it. Because you can pick up some graded cards for 12 to 15, maybe $20. If I can do that, and if I can find that card, that's worth it to me to add to my collection, then I'm going to buy it graded. My other reason for buying graded cards is, for example, the Griffey that's on screen, or the Jordan, or not Jordan, the LeBron I've showed you guys, or my Kobe's that I've bought graded. Those are cards that have a historically known reprint, association, and I want to ensure that when I'm buying that card, that it's authentic. Now, if you notice, the Griffey is an 8. The LeBron rookie I bought is a 9. My Kobe's, most of those are in the 8, 8.5 range. I think I might have 1 or 2 9s. I'm not buying PSA 10s of these cards that I want in my collection. I'm buying a grade. I mean, the Griffey there, it's slightly off-centered, but the corners are nice, all that. I'm buying the card that looks nice to add to my collection, whether it be for display or long-term hold for my kids or grandkids, whatever it may be, to know that it's authentic. I don't necessarily have to buy a card graded. If I have faith that it hasn't been reprinted, if it's a card that I don't know has a lot of reprints out there, I'm more than fine of buying it raw. So anyway, but some people do prefer to only buy graded cards, and they may only prefer to buy PSA. One thing you have to factor in between all three companies, especially when it comes to PSA versus the other two, if you're searching for a card that is graded, you're going to find more copies available of a PSA than you will be able to of an SGC or a BGS. If I can find, I'll use my Gretzky as an example. I found it in an SGC, and that's what I bought. A, I got a very good price. B, I liked the slabs and I knew I was going forward with using SGC as my grading company. So when you sit down and you want to go and purchase a card maybe in graded form, you have to ask yourself, what company do I want to have in my collection? Do I need to have the same company throughout my collection? Can I find this card in a BGS or SGC form, or is my only option going to be a PSA form? There's there are different factors in it. If you're only looking at the value, um, then you're kind of going at it about the wrong way. Card prices change all the time. Grading card, grading company prices could also potentially change in the future. If SGC can continue to grow, if they can continue to gain popularity, if they start pulling people away from PSA, and I'm not saying this is going to happen. Don't take this the wrong way. But if this does happen, if it potentially happened, and SGC took and got into a higher pricing value, then all of these people that have invested in PSA are now holding a card that is less valuable just because at the time when they were purchasing the card, they didn't feel SGC was good enough to purchase. So, when you're buying the cards, just make sure that you have an idea of what you actually want to do with the cards, or what is your reasoning for purchasing the cards. Um, what I was going to say about BGS, I've never submitted to them, so I cannot go into detail of, from an experience standpoint, of how their turnaround times are. I don't know how um, their customer service is. Honestly, I have tried to use their online submission before, and I could not get it to work. It kept telling me enter card and do search, and I could never get anything to come up. One reason, and I will be blatantly clear, that I have never considered BGS is their prices are higher. And I, you know, I've been wanting to grade in bulk form for probably going on the past year or so. I have a large um, stockpile of cards that I want to submit for grading. I financially cannot send in 1,000 cards or 500 cards at one time. Not at this point. Um, so if I was to even consider BGS as my grading company, I would be restricted to going at an even lower pace than I currently am. And it would take me much, much longer, even with good turnaround times, to get everything that I had planned to have graded done, simply on a financial aspect. It has nothing to do with BGS not having a high value or whatever, because we all know if you can pull off the 10, it's actually worth more. So it has nothing to do with that. In fact, the Michael Taylor I have on screen here, I have 6 or 8 of his. I'm trying to get the full rainbow. Um, and every single one of them are BGS 9.5 with a 10 grade. I have absolutely nothing wrong with BGS grading either. Um, Now, let's talk about SGC because I talk a lot about them. One thing I want to be clear, I personally made the choice to use SGC because A, yes, their pricing is cheaper than the other two companies. B, and what was very, very important to me was when I spoke to Peter that first time, getting information, just discussing possibility of using them as the company of choice. The customer service experience was beyond believable. Most companies do not take the time with their customers to sit and just be open and, take the time. He sat on the phone with me, like I've told you guys before, for, I'm pretty sure it was 45 minutes, maybe even longer. And that to me was huge because he is the director of operations. He's pretty much the head guy there. And for first off, to even be able to be connected with him was pretty surprising to me. But then for him to just sit there and discuss whatever I wanted to talk about and not rush to get off the phone and actually treat me as an important or appreciative person, that meant a lot to me. That was a great first impression, and it made it to where I could feel comfortable using them and not worry about just being a statistic, just being another customer. I felt like I almost felt like he knew me and he understood what I was trying to get out of the company. Um, Third reason is the turnaround times. As I stated, I have a lot of cards I would like to get graded. I only, as I've showed you guys, I'm only doing between, I did 110 in my first two orders and I did 120 in this last order I sent. I want to get it up to where I'm at, maybe 200, 250 at a time. But right now, I'm just trying to pretty much stay at a certain price point when I'm sending cards in. And then, again, it's also with me knowing their business is rising. I'm not throwing too many on them at one time. Um, and this way has been working, but it's also allowing me, even at 110 or 120 at a time, to have a steady return. This is where something that people really don't discuss when they're comparing the three companies. Um, Everybody has a different purpose or reason of why they're grading the cards. Some people might be sending in cards for their collection. Some people might be, I'll use an example, card collector too. He has a shop. Maybe he's doing it for shop purposes and he can stand to turn inventory every, say he sends an order every 3 months, and although it's taken them 6 months, but he's getting orders back every 3 months, that allows him to move inventory and is not taking up space in his shop. Um, you know, some people might just be trying to flip quickly. If you ever notice, like Prism basketball when it came out, or Optic even. I'll use Prism because Optic was still kind of close to the COVID time. Excuse me. When Prism came out, people were sending Zion and Ja to BGS and the masses because they could get them back quick, they could get them up on eBay, and they could sell them. They knew if they sent them to PSA, they would take longer and, they wouldn't be first to market or whatever. That's what a lot of people do. They want to have the first copies on eBay. They know that just because it's the first graded copy, it's going to get a bigger premium. They're not worried about future value. They're not worried about holding on to it. They want to get it in that slab, get that grade on the card, and get it listed. Now, that's on new products. BGS probably gets hit hard on new releases, especially with things like Zion. On PSA side, like I said, you might have people that can withhold the turnaround time, and they may truly feel PSA will never be overtaken as far as being the top value, and they think that as a long-term investment standpoint, it's worth the wait for the 3 months or 6 months or whatever to invest that time in to have that card graded by PSA, because in the end they feel it has the higher value. And that takes me back to where those people are going to be in the wrong boat if SGC ever is able to move closer or close. Even they don't even have to overtake them. Even if they close that gap to where it gets really tight, the PSA people that are investing all this time are going to be losing out, because A, they're going to be spending more on grading fees, but B, they're going to be losing a lot of time, overall, because it takes longer. Um, and then you have the people like me. Um, I have a large amount of cards that I want to send in, and I can't do it all at one shot. It benefits me to use SGC because, like I said, the price is cheap. It fits my budget scheme, and the more cards that I'm getting back graded, the more cards I can sell to put forth to, whether it be purchasing more cards to grade or grading fees to send more in. So, whereas like someone who has a store, like I mentioned, Card Collector, might be able to, it might take him 3 months or even 6 months to move his inventory. He's got that, he's got that time that it's okay for him to wait. If I do that, then I'm only going to be sending cards in every few months. I'm not going to be able to regularly send them in. And when I'm doing it at 100 or, between 100 and 150 at a time, and I have 1,000 cards sitting here, if I'm at just even say 3 months or 2 months, and you got, at least 10 submissions worth, you're pushing into a 2-year window. And as you know, prices like fluctuate so much. I could have a guy that is pretty valuable, like, maybe Juan Soto, who's hot priced right now. But in 2 years, maybe there's another hot guy and Soto isn't quite as hot anymore. And so that's where I would be risking, possibly losing potential return because it's taking me so long to get everything in a slab. Um, I'm adding to my collection as well. I don't just grade everything and sell it. There, that rack back there, which I don't know how well it shows up on the camera, but that rack, that whole top shelf back there, that's all cards that I personally sent in and that I'm keeping. I have a box under this table that has like 90% SGC that I graded in my first submission. So I'm not just selling everything. I am keeping a lot of them. But the ones I'm selling, everybody's talking about, well, SGC, I don't know where a lot of these people are getting numbers from, but everybody is just simply just counting SGC as no value. And even still, with multiple people showing comparison and pricing, they're saying BGS 9.5 will outsell a SGC 10. I don't know if they're looking at one card that might have happened or if they're given a broad example. These people that are doing all these comparisons, I don't think that they're really sitting down and looking at everything, and they're only using maybe one top card, that's a hot card in PSA, or a couple hot names that other investor platforms are sitting there preaching by this guy in a PSA, so people are doing that. I don't know where everybody's getting these numbers from, and that's why when I talk to you guys, I like to show numbers. Um, so, aside the fact of that, let's just say speculation that SGC is the lowest of the three. Let's just hypothetically say that, and we'll go. against the grain of what we know because we've seen numbers. The fact is, I'm still making money off of these cards. And I'm making money quicker off of these cards because I'm getting them back in hand quicker. You know, I've said this before, time is money. And if my cards are sitting in a box at another facility not getting touched, they are doing me no good. If I'm getting cards to a company who is putting forth every effort to get them done and back to me in a timely fashion to where I am capable of listing them on eBay or Reddit or wherever and selling and moving cards and putting money into my PayPal account, I am making more money than them sitting in a box. Because then I can take that money and invest it back into more. You know, people want to discuss the values, but how about this? If I'm waiting, say I send my cards to PSA and I'm waiting 3-4 months, whatever, to get them back. But there's a product that's getting ready to be released. And as we all know, products over the course of a very quick period in today's markets may start at this price point down here. But next month, they'll be here. The month after that, they'll be here. And the month after that will be here. So those 3, 4, 5 months or whatever that I'm waiting to get my cards back to sell, I might get a few dollars more. But that money that I'm wanting to use from selling them and investing back in, I'm losing because the product that I wanted to invest or buy to get more inventory of has now risen to where I'm going to have to pay more for it. So, you know, that's just another example, and there's many, many things to this hobby and to doing grading and selling, or even if you want to call it investing, than what people are discussing. People are wanting to throw a number on a screen, give praise to this company, discount this company, say this company shouldn't even be in the conversation, when the truth is all three companies have an advantage to the hobby. All three companies can be beneficial to every single last one of us. It all depends on what you as the collector, what you as the investor, if you want to call yourself, what you plan to do with your cards, what your long-term plan is, what your short-term plan is, and what you value and appreciate and enjoy the most. Nobody can tell you what you should or should not do. Nobody out there can predict numbers over a long-term period. I mean, if we could, we would all be in a huge, great, big boat. Because we would all know, okay, by this guy now, his stuff's going to go up. By PSA now, it's going to go up. By SGC now, it's going to go up. Nobody can do that. We all can give an opinion of what we think might happen, but we don't know for sure. That's why, guys, when I talk to you and when I try to give you information to help benefit you, or even on my personal opinion sometimes, I try to show you numbers. I don't want to feed you a load of BS. I want to give you quality content that you can enjoy, that you will tell your friends about. Say, hey man, you should check this guy out. You know, I don't know everything. I am not a genius. I am not a, quote unquote professional. None of us are. We all started as collectors. We got into the hobby. We love the hobby. We like opening cards. We like buying cards. We like selling cards, trading cards, whatever. You know, something nobody I have even heard mention about with the SGC uprise or what prices are at right now. Nobody's mentioned the fact there's no card shows going on. What's going to happen when shows come out and there's more SGC on the market? And these vendors might be like, hey, I got an opportunity to add SGC to my inventory. Or, you know, the eBay sales start slowing down because more people are actually wanting to go out and have physical contact with people as far as, you know, face to face communication and interactions. And there's card shows popping up and there's more transactions made that way. And everything isn't just digitally done through eBay. Are we going to hear when, when those transactions take place? Because I have not heard anybody mention that yet. And I feel that when card shows come around, we could start seeing that balance a little more. eBay is hard to judge pricing. I know because I've been trying to sell SGC cards. It's hard to determine what I can actually, or even what I should accept for an SGC card, because I know where it lies, but there's not a lot of comps out there. And when you tell someone, you know, that's trying to get a great deal on something, that hey, I've sold this card and this card and this card, and those all outsold BGS and were pretty close to PSA, they don't want to hear that. They want to say, you have SGC, I want this for the lowest possible price. And a lot of people also probably have the intent of cracking the case because they think, oh, well, this card I know is in good condition. I know this is a PSA 10. I'm going to buy this cheap as dirt from this guy. I'm going to crack it. I'm going to send it to PSA. Then it's going to be a 10, and then the value is going to rise. And they're trying to play this little game of investing. And I'm sorry, I don't let it happen. I know the value of the cards. I know that the value of the cards are going to increase, and I hold to my prices the best I can. And, like I said, several people have messaged me regarding all these comparison videos and this, that, and the other. I've watched some of them. I haven't really compared, and I'm not even getting into it right now. I'm more telling everyone, do what fits your financial lifestyle, your collecting habits, your personal collection, your resale times. Do what fits you best. Everybody that is on YouTube and behind a camera can tell you whatever they like, but the most important person when making a decision is you. Just because I enjoy SGC doesn't mean you will. Doesn't mean you have to. We all, instead of trying to make this three little groups here, the SGC group and the PSA group and the BGS group, we can come together as a hobby group where we all enjoy every single one of the three companies and make this thing work together, instead of having it to be three different, separate groups. And I honestly I would love to see that. There's guys on Reddit, Level Jumper's one of them. He's got a group submission out with BGS, and he loves BGS. It works best for him. It's another example. He's near their facility. It works great for him. And he talks to me about them all the time. I don't knock him for it. It's what he likes. And that's how it should be. I own all three companies, cards of all three companies. I just choose to grade with SGC because it fits my whole plan, my whole scheme much, much, much better. So, anyway, guys, um, I hope this topic helps explain a lot between my views and, without going into details, views that I feel that other people have gotten into on their channels or made videos of. Um, and I'm just going to try to keep giving you guys the best, most informative, and accurate content that I can. And I do appreciate everyone's support. I do appreciate all the comments and questions and everything else. And I will continue to do the best that I possibly can to accurately and quickly answer everybody's questions, or even like I like to do when I go live, just sit and chit chat with you guys, because it's awesome. It means a lot. And anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and end this here. Hope everybody has a good Saturday evening. Don't forget, if you have a submission that you would like to send out to SGC, Peter made that code. It's JoshCC, and it gives you 15% off your grading fees with SGC. Peter said the code does end at midnight on Sunday. So if you want to get a sub in, go ahead and get that done and save yourself 15%. But hope everyone has a good evening, and until the next video, I'm out.